The CDC reports that children ages 8 through 18 spend an average of 7.5 hours daily in front of a screen. This is about half of their waking hours. A major reason for these high screen times is the internet and especially social media. The World Wide Web has certainly had some upsides to it, but not without some downsides. Some people who are particularly vulnerable to the downsides of the internet are children. I believe children should not have access to the internet before middle adolescence because it can greatly impact their developing psyche. They can be exposed to harmful content and can affect their ability to grow into their adult selves in a way that's healthy for them. As someone who grew up in the age of the internet and was allowed to roam unrestricted on the internet from the beginning of my formative years, I believe I have a valuable perspective on the disservice it is to simply let children freely explore the web. To focus on my first point, internet use can and often does negatively impact a child's developing psyche by way of harmful content. I have bear witness to the disturbing, traumatizing, or simply illegal content that children consume on the internet. Consuming that kind of content can lead to children being desensitized to violence, crime, and more, including their own humanity, which should be a cause of concern for all people, but especially parents. Some other kind of content that children consume on the internet can be niche content that's targeted to them. For example, a relatively well-known subgroup of boys and men on the net known as incels. According to an article on the National Library of Medicine, these involuntary celibates are not a largely violent group, and many of them just want to find people who relate to their struggles. This does not dismiss the overwhelming amount of misogyny promoted in their forums where these incels meet, nor does it dismiss the very real effects of the select radicalized boys and men who take their online hate to the real world by committing hate crimes and violent crimes against people and especially women. Many school shootings and crimes are committed by people who fall down a rabbit hole one day on the internet in their formative years that leads to them holding certain beliefs and being encouraged by others in the same online circles and communities to act on what many of them have been taught to fantasize about. The dangers of online groups can be very real. On to a different point, excessive internet use can keep kids from developing in a healthy way. Many young people are always bombarded with pictures and videos of seemingly perfect people from lifestyle to looks. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, depression, anxiety, body image issues, and more, in an already extremely challenging and important time in their lives. The uber heightened experiences and emotions can give young people a skewed view of the world and of themselves, therefore arresting their otherwise healthy development. According to a study cited in a World Economic Forum article titled, "Here are 5 Ways Digital Technology is Changing Childhood," teens who spend more than 3 hours a day online are 35% more likely to be at risk of suicide. These are numbers that I imagine should make any parent concerned. Finally, the last reason I want to discuss for children spending most of their time before adulthood offline is because just as they have access to everything, everything has access to them. The apps BeReal, which according to searchlogistics.com has over 20 million monthly users, and Snapchat both have particularly concerning features when it comes to this topic. The whole concept of BeReal is that a notification goes off at a random time of the day, and that notification means you have 2 whole minutes to shoot and post one real-time picture of what's on the front side of your camera and what's on the back side of your camera. This is a problematic and potentially disastrous feature as it can very easily expose some problematic information about one's location, and is especially dangerous for someone sharing these images on the discovery timeline of BeReal, which leaves the photos completely public. Snapchat's feature that can be problematic is its map. This feature can allow for anyone who has a person added on Snapchat to see their location at any given time. For people who have completely open Snapchat profiles, this can be dangerous. I will say the features related to these apps can be managed, meaning those who post on BeReal can limit posts to just being visible to friends, and those on Snapchat can turn off their location on Snap Maps or limit their location viewing to certain people. Admittedly, these features do have potential to be help in the case of an emergency, but they also have the potential to cause harm. I say all this to say today's youth is susceptible to some serious harm as a result of an overwhelming amount of them in the developed world having absolute unrestricted access on the internet, and even those who do have restricted access put in place by their parents. Most of the kids are much more tech savvy than their parents, so if they're exposed to something just once that they want to see again, they will be capable of viewing it again. I accept that overprotectiveness or being a helicopter parent can be damaging to a child's experiences in the world, but I don't think that is a worthy excuse for letting one's child be raised by the internet. The lasting effects that unrestricted access to the internet imposes on a child's developing psyche, what they're exposed to, and their development is very potentially detrimental, and I believe if a growing number of parents accept and act on this reality, today's youth and tomorrow's adults would ultimately benefit and thrive as a result.